In today's video, you're going to see 3 core hitting drills for baseball and softball. Today's also a partner video with MaxBP. You're going to see me using their pitching machine in 2 of these drills, and it's a really amazing tool for making more efficient practices for players to get reps in their backyard. Anywhere you have a little open space, it's a really great tool for hitting, fielding, and lots of other stuff. So even if you don't have a MaxBP machine yet, you can do these drills with baseballs, with your own wiffle balls, with heavy balls. But I really like the pitching machine for a couple of these because you can get so many more reps in a short period of time, and you can really, again, make for efficient station work at your next practice. So let's jump into it and check out the first hitting drill. All right, so this is the catch drill, and this is great for hitters, just getting ready for the regular session, but especially for young hitters who tend to spin off with their head or maybe have difficulty lunging too much at pitches. So I'll help them stay back and keep their head on the ball. So what we're gonna do is you'll get in your regular batting stance, your front arm can just kind of hang, your right arm, your top hand is gonna be the one that catches, and we'll have a partner flip, and then what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna turn and I'm gonna catch it right here. And the goal, one of the big goals here is head movement, so we wanna keep our head on the ball. So as I turn and catch, I wanna make sure I'm looking down or even slightly back. I don't wanna be out here, which is what a lot of young players do when they roll over on a pitch. So as my partner tosses it, I'm gonna stick it, and my head's gonna be down on the ball. And then there's a couple ways to progress this. Number one, if you're working on something with your lower half, like maybe a big leg kick with your swing, maybe you wanna start closed and widen up, maybe something with your stride, then you can start to do that. On the first progression, I'd say just don't worry about your lower half too much. Just worry about the head movement and sticking them and not reaching. But if you want to progress, say I'm working on a leg kick, then we can do it that way too, where boom. And now I get some reps without worrying about contact, and I can just focus on my mechanics, keeping my head down and working through it. And then my third progression is with the MaxBP pitching machine. So this is going to be great where I'm going to get a ton of reps doing this, and it's going to give me a little bit of variability where they're going to be in the zone, some are going to be out of the zone. So in this third progression, really work on catching ones that are in the strike zone, so you can work on your strike zone discipline, your plate discipline, and try to let ones go that are out of the zone. It's like I have a hole in my hand. Got it. What a catch. Hey. All right, so my next drill is the 45-degree drill. So I'm gonna set my feet up about 45 degrees from my typical batting stance. And this is gonna help players who tend to be in and out of the zone too quick and who tend to fly open and roll out with their head. So I'm gonna be 45 degrees, and my goal is I'm not gonna have a stride, so I'm not gonna come back in. I'm gonna keep both these feet down. My goal is to stay closed and to have an attack angle that's a little lower rather than this really flat zone or this really flat bat path, which is not gonna match up well with the downhill plane of the ball. So I'm gonna keep my feet at 45. I'm gonna stay closed. I'm gonna be through the ball here, and I wanna finish up and above my shoulders. So I'm using the MaxBP machine for this, which is great because you can get tons of reps in. It's got a huge hopper, lots of balls, and I can get my hacks in as a station at practice or out in the backyard. And this drill works really well off the tee. And here I'm trying to get my timing down so that I load up and swing since I'm getting a pitched ball. All right, so this next drill is called the Pendulum drill. This is great for helping young hitters develop timing. It prevents rushing. It prevents wrapping where they turn too much. It's a really great drill, especially for players who are lunging too much onto their front foot. This drill can be done off the tee. It can be done with front toss as long as the player sort of has a cue of when they should start the drill. And it can be done off a pitching machine like the MaxBP machine, which has an indicator light, which helps them time up all the moving pieces in the drill. All right, so here's how you set up for the Pendulum drill. Number one, players will be feet wide, nice and relaxed in their stance. Number two, they're gonna hold their front arm out and the bat's gonna stick up and their bottom hand is gonna be, you know, right where they would normally have it against the knob of the bat. Again, this drill helps players who are too often rushing. You know, they see the pitch, they start to lunge, they don't feel that load on their backside. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with our arm out here. I'm gonna swing this straight back, and as I do that, I'm gonna load my back hip. I'm gonna feel the weight come back into this hip, and all in one motion, I'm gonna get it into my stance, and then I'm gonna come through and I'm gonna swing. So when players are doing this for the first time, I encourage them to take a couple dry swings without a ball. And then once they get comfortable, put a ball on the tee. One thing to notice, as I start this drill, my weight's shifting back. I'm gonna have a tiny little stride, and then everything's gonna come through all at once. Let's talk about two other pieces of the swing that this drill helps address. Number one is it helps prevent wrapping. So wrapping is when you rotate too far this way, where it becomes really difficult to unwind and be on time. When you hit, yes, the upper body does have to rotate away, and that's how we get shoulder hip separation. Our hips start to go first, and our upper body is wound up, and then it slingshots through all at once. This is the same as when we pitch. That's how we get a lot of power from our legs to our torso, and then into our throwing arm, or in this case, the bat. And so in this drill, because of the sort of pendulum action that's more north and south than east to west, this will help players get comfortable loading without excessive rotation. So that's another benefit of this drill. Now let's talk about the hands in general. So lots of young players, when they're still learning to, you know, kind of get comfortable in the box, is they'll have their stance, they'll take their stride, but their hands won't actually move and help create more power. What we want to see from the hands is they're going to move back. Everyone's moved back to some degree, and this helps, again, to sort of rotate our body, get that extra wind up of shoulder hip separation. And a real easy way to track this is the movement of the knob. So if you're trying to hit with the knob facing the plate, you're not going to get as much recoil and power from your upper body. If you let the knob rotate away from the plate towards the catcher or even the umpire, that's a really good loaded position where now we can come through and use our hips and our core. So for hitters who struggle to get proper hand movement in concert with their load, this action of the bat coming back helps do both of them at once, because the bat is sort of carrying their hands into that position. So it can be a real big positive for a lot of young hitters who maybe have trouble rushing. Again, they're lunging at the ball too soon, they don't feel their backside very well, or they're excessively rotating, or they're not getting their hands into a more explosive position when that front foot gets down. So once they get really comfortable with the pendulum drill, they can alternate, go 2 and 2 or 1 and 1, do a pendulum drill, do their regular swing, because the goal is what we feel in the drill, we then want them to feel in their regular swing. So again, do a pendulum drill or 2 or 3, and then do a couple regular swings, and you can alternate them like that in your hitting session. So make this drill your own. It can be a lot of different things to a lot of different players. All right, so thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out the description below where you can find links for the MaxBP pitching machine and their other accessories. You can use my discount code to save 10%. So definitely check that out. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you here in the next video.